Okay, so good evening to all of you. Now, I hope you have gone through the last few chapters which we had discussed. Just a recap so that you are on the same page what I'm going to discuss today about, okay? So we have discussed about international trade. We started with international trade that what are the benefits for a country, isn't it? क्या फायदे हैं international trade के? How a country can gain through this innovative process, employment, income, foreign exchange reserves, and it because then we had shared protectionism. उसके पहले हमने theories discuss की थी. International trade theories, comparative cost, absolute cost, new trade theory, Heckscher ruling theory, and now after that we had discussed about trade barriers, restrictions, protectionism basically. Protectionism in terms of countries go for protecting their domestic players. Okay, and then we had shared about the last class, what we had shared about, we had shared in terms of the trade agreements, uh, economic union, customs union, free trade agreements. Then we had shared about WTO, what is the norm of most favored nation, national treatment, and dispute settlement. Okay, so we have shared this. Now, today we are going to discuss about exchange rate. Exchange rate is about foreign exchange rate. Why the term is exchange rate? Because if you see in the newspaper, if you see anywhere, you see what um, rupee is becoming strong, rupee is becoming weaker. Now, when you see rupees becoming strong, yeah, rupees becoming weaker, what is the reference point of that? That is dollar, isn't it? We say $1 is equal to 81.04 INR, or we say $1 is equal to 80.02302. This is how the rate is quoted. So, जब भी आप कोई न्यूज पढ़ते हैं related to market or the foreign exchange, you read in terms of Indian rupee with respect to dollar. Yes, you see always exchange rate is always quoted. So exchange rate basically means you are exchanging what? One currency with respect to the other currency. Then, and what is our home currency? Home currency is INR. International, वैसे आप रुपी बोलते हैं, but international market में we call it as Indian rupee, that is INR. It is represented by INR in capital letters. And similarly, USD, that is US dollar, is represented as USD. ये nomenclature है. This is international nomenclature where each and every currency has to be denominated in 3 letters. Okay, so इसीलिए आप कहते हैं GBP, Great Britain pound. Then you say Swiss franc, CHF, isn't it? Japanese yen, JPY. So all the currencies which you see are quoted in the market in terms of their abbreviation, which is as per the standard norms of defining in 3 letters. So हम Indian rupee को represent करते हैं INR से, and USD is represented, US dollar is represented as USD. तो जब भी आप rate देखते हैं, you see rate quoted as $1 equal to 81.08, let's say INR. That means what? डॉलर हो गई आपकी बेस करेंसी एंड INR हो गया आपका वेरिएबल करेंसी बिकॉज डॉलर तो $1 ही रहता है ऑल थ्रू आउट इजंट इट वी से $1 1 USD but what happens INR changes sometimes $1 is equal to once upon a time $1 was equal to 48 INR, then it became 65 and it became 69 and today it is $1 is equal to 81 80 and so on. So what is fixed? Fixed is dollar. That is $1. What is bearing? Bearing is Indian rupee. Okay. So this is how we represent exchange rate quote in India. Okay. So that is what we are sharing. So we are going to discuss today about how the exchange rate is decided. What are the basic terminologies of foreign exchange market? Then who are the players in the foreign exchange market? Then why the rate fluctuates? Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. Then how countries they go for deciding can they control the rate or not? Okay, then who gains through this? Who loses through this? So these are all things which we are going to discuss today in exchange rate and economic effects. So how exchange rate is decided? What is the basic terminologies of exchange rate and what impact it makes on the economy? Whether you say about India, whether you say US, whether you say Canada, whether you talk about Africa. So world across exchange rate का impact पड़ता है depending on which currency you are using. In India we are using INR, but हमारा reference है USD. Some countries they go for pegging their currency. तो benchmark उनकी currency हो जाती है USD, and then they go for deciding the value of their economy based on USD only. Okay, so we will share that also. So this is the news which was there in Business Standard on 14th of April. Today is what, 17th of April. This news was there in Business Standard. अगर आप पढ़ते हैं तो on 14th of April. Now, if you look at the news, this says that Indian rupee, if you can see that rupee appreciated by 18 paisa to 81.93 against US dollar. So US dollar is the base currency. Please do keep it in mind. US dollar will be base currency, INR will be variable currency. So we are talking about 81.93 INR. Okay. And here you see rupee has appreciated. Appreciated means it was at what price? On it was 81.99. 81.99 on 12th of, it was 81.99 and then it went down to 81.93. That means if you go for taking, if you have to buy $1, prior how many rupees you had to forego? पहले आपको कितने rupees देने पड़ते? 81.99. अगर आप $100 लेंगे तो 81.99 into 100. That much amount of rupees you had to forego for getting $100 or 1 USD. But now the rate is 1 USD equal to 81.93. That means rupee has become strong. That means rupee has appreciated. Okay, so when dollar becomes cheaper for us, why cheaper we are saying? Because $1 के लिए आप पहले 81.99 rupees spend कर रहे थे. Now you will be spending 81.93. That means dollar has become cheaper and Indian rupee has become stronger. So when currency becomes strong, that means the other currency becomes weak. Yes. And when we say our currency is becoming weak, other currency becomes strong. So this is how. So we always establish exchange rate relationship between number one, two currencies. Two currencies in Indian case, we take our reference currency as USD. This is our base currency. And our variable currency is INR. This is variable because it fluctuates, no? It changes. So this is a variable currency and this is the base currency. And this where you take base currency as foreign currency and variable currency as your home currency. This is known as direct quote. What is it known as? Direct quote. Why it is known as direct quote? Because we are taking foreign currency as the base currency and home currency as the variable currency. Okay, this is known as direct quote. So in India, we follow direct quote. Quote is exchange rate terminology. Exchange rate we quote. So the quote where you see $1 equal to 81.93, this is exchange rate quote. Okay, so this is known as direct quote. So what is direct in this? Your base currency is USD and your variable currency is INR. This is your home currency and this is your variable currency. Okay. So this is known as direct quote. Okay. So if we say who are the ones who go for trading in the market? So forex traders, okay, they go for trading. Then who else? Investors, they go for investing in the market. Companies, they go for raising loans in the market, isn't it? Sometimes they have to repay their loan. So foreign exchange transactions happens at each point, isn't it? You want to go abroad to chill around, then in that case, you will go for taking dollars and will go and you will give to the bank what? INR. आप रुपये देंगे आपको डॉलर मिलेगा exchange पे, isn't it? So similarly, so this appreciation and depreciation is clear. Depreciation our country becomes weak or strong, which is favorable for the economic conditions of the country. We'll share, Karthik, we'll share. Is it good? Is it bad? It depends on context, okay? That we'll share. But at this point of time, simply you remember three things what we have shared. Number one, that the currency of in our country, which we practice as a base currency, is US dollar, and the variable currency is INR. Number two, any foreign exchange quote in the market is specified always with respect to two currencies, pair of currencies. Pair of currencies, maybe both are external currencies, maybe one is the home currency and the other is the foreign currency. Okay, so we'll share that also. The cases where both the currencies are external currency or the currency is pegged with the external currency, that we'll share. But at this point of time, who are the one who go for foreign exchange transactions? So forex traders, isn't it? Then banks. Banks. After all, you are an exporter and you have a bank account. You'll go to the bank and say, see, I've given goods on credit. I'll get payment after 3 months. So today is what, 17th of April. I will be getting after 3 months and I'll get $1,000. Just an assumption, I'll get $1,000 after 3 months. So bank will say, okay, fine, you will get $1,000 after 3 months. I'll give you this much amount of rupees with respect to that. I'm giving you this quote. So I'm giving you quote equal to 1 USD equal to 81.93. And once you get payment after 3 months, so $1,000 into this, I'll give you. 1,000 into 81.93, I'll give you this. The bank may say this. Okay. No. Mariam, every country is not following. Majority of the countries are following USD, but some countries they follow Euro also. Some countries they follow GBP also. Okay, so depends on which country transactions you believe is more acceptable. Okay, so that is how it goes. So that is not thumb rule that it has to be USD only. But yes, majority of the world, if you see, they opt for USD because आपको पता है USD is the hottest currency. English is the prime language all across the world. And secondly, USD is the currency which is more acceptable. So maximum trade world market में USD में ही होता है. Okay, so that is why USD is the base currency in Indian context. So we'll share later what happens in the market. Okay, so then rupee closed at 12th of April, it was 82.11 against the US, and USD, that means has become stronger, and it is believed that has a strong support. Strong support means they have fixed the range that it won't go beyond 81.80 and it won't go less than 81.75. So lower the range, better it is, no? Because if it goes up and down, too much fluctuations are there, that's bad, no? That's bad for the economy because fluctuations, the more the fluctuations are, more uncertainty is there in the market. And more uncertainty is there means more risk is there. So who will invest in your country if the rate fluctuates a lot? And your Sensex will also get impacted. Companies, those who have to make payments, they will also be impacted. So जिनका भी foreign exchange transactions होगा, उनके ऊपर इसका adverse impact पड़ेगा because if the dollar INR rate fluctuates a lot, जितना ज़्यादा range होगा, उतना ज़्यादा risk होगा. Okay, so the lower the range between the highest and the lowest in terms of foreign exchange rate, better it is for the economy. That is more sound the economy is. Okay. So looking at the geopolitical means this what is happening in Russia and Ukraine crisis. Then this COVID is back and world is divided. Some countries are in support of Russia, some are not, and the world is getting divided. So these are some concerns. US inflation rate is increasing, UK inflation rate is increasing, countries are going through recession. So all these problems are there, and that is why US Fed rate may increase. Okay, so Federal Bank of US may increase the interest rates. If Federal Bank will increase the interest rates, what will happen? Then in that case, Indian rupee may go down. That is what you can see here. What is the range here? It is quoted 81.75 to 880. That means 81.75 or 81.80 can be the range if everything is fine. But if this world economy is not doing well, and this creates a high level of uncertainty. U.S. economy and the developed economies go through uh, downfall in the economy. So in that case, what federal bank will do? They'll increase the interest rates. So if they increases the interest rates, because inflation बढ़ रहा है ना, we have shared if money demand increases, inflation increases, then what RBI is going to do? RBI is going to increase the repo rate. Similarly, वहाँ पे Fed rate they'll increase because inflation is higher. If they increase the Fed rate, that means investors, foreign portfolio investors or the foreign investors, those who are investing in Indian market, they'll take out the money and they'll invest back in your home country. So what will happen? We'll have less of dollar. Less of dollar means our rupee will depreciate. Yes. Interbank, Sudhanshu, interbank means banks also go for interbank transactions. No, interbanks, एक बैंक से दूसरे बैंक में foreign exchange transactions होते हैं. So, for example, your client and somebody else client. So you have to make the payment to the other bank. So it can be interbank transactions. जैसे normal transactions होते हैं, okay, interbanks में you have an account with HDFC Bank and you go for transacting with ICICI. So they have to make a payment respectively, isn't it? Similarly, forex transactions होंगे. Importer का बैंक different है and exporter का बैंक different है, then in that case they may go for foreign exchange interbank transactions, and otherwise also they settle their dues. End of the day, if one bank is running short, they can borrow from the other bank also. Interbank transactions that can happen. Banks they go for investments also. There are a number of things. Okay, so based on that, basically you remember one thing you get clear in your head that banks are wholesalers. Banks are wholesalers of foreign exchange. Banks are और जो आपके money changes हैं वो सब हैं small players, they are all retailers. And who is the authority? Reserve Bank of India is the authority in India. I'm sorry, who decides about that? How much forex should go up? How the rate should go up? Where should we go for intervening in the market? So that is the RBI portfolio. So RBI has to decide कि कहाँ पे अगर रुपी बहुत ज्यादा depreciate हो गया है to intervene or not. कहाँ पे market में intervene करना है to go for either buying currency or releasing currency in the market. So that is all decided based on how the economy is performing, how's the inflation, how's the employment in the country. Okay, what are the sentiments of people, how Sensex is behaving. So बहुत सारे factors होते हैं उसके basis पे the foreign exchange rate it's decided that it's bad, is it good, should we go for taking any measures or not. As long as आपके country के macro fundamentals strong है, if rupee depreciates also, it's still not a matter of great concern, but Fed hiking process. Fed hiking process means जैसे इंडिया में Reserve Bank of India है, Reserve Bank of India can increase the repo rate. Okay, when will repo rate will increase? It will increase when they want to decrease money demand in the economy. As the US में Federal Bank है, so Federal Bank can decide about that inflation is increasing, supply is less, but money demand is increasing, and because of that, inflation is shooting up. And to control inflation, what Federal Bank in US will do, what RBI will do in India. So Federal Bank क्या करेगा? Will go for absorbing money. By how to absorb money? By increasing the interest rates. So if interest rate in US will increase, what is going to happen? If interest rate in US increases, then so investors, those who are investing in India, they withdraw funds from India, dollar they'll withdraw and they'll invest in their home country because वहाँ पे अब उनको interest rate ज़्यादा मिलेगा. They'll get higher interest rate over there. So they'll withdraw money from India and they'll go for investing in their home country. So what is going to happen? We will be having less of dollar in India if US Fed rate is going to increase because portfolio investors, those who have invested in the market, they'll take out money and they'll invest where? They'll invest back in their home country. आपको याद है when we had shared that money demand, we were sharing that at that time we had shared that if interest rate increases, what happens? Your cost of keeping cash goes up. So what do? You go for putting money in the bank. Isn't it? Similarly here, investors, they find that what is the opportunity cost of investing in India or investing in other country? जहाँ पे भी interest rate उनको ज़्यादा मिलेगा, it's worth investing there, no? So if US is going to increase the interest rate, they will be getting higher ROI. So why not to invest there? Okay. And that is why you see that what is going to happen to rupee? Rupee will bounce back. Means dollar strong ho jayega, rupee weak ho jayega. So this rupee will become weak. We started with rupees appreciating by how much? 18 paisa. But if US goes for increasing the Fed rate, looking at the geopolitical tension and high inflation rate, then in that case, rupee will further go down. Okay. This is strong. This is rupees becoming strong here. But here you can see here rupee may become weak. So 82.50 means rupees becoming strong. Rupees becoming weak because वहाँ पे 81.93 है, यहाँ पे 82.53. You might be thinking 1 rupee, how is it going to make difference? But I tell you, foreign exchange transaction happens in millions and billions, isn't it? So every decimal matters. हर एक डेसिमल पॉइंट मैटर करता है एक्सचेंज रेट का बिकॉज मार्केट में ट्रांजैक्शंस बिलियन एंड ट्रिलियंस में होते हैं ओके so what exactly is foreign exchange market? Foreign exchange market helps the country, helps the economy to become more sustainable because you have Apple in India, you have Amazon in India, you have Tata in India. Tata has purchased Airbus. अब Airbus उन्होंने purchase किया तो they have to make payment also in the foreign exchange. So Indian companies also they need to make payments. If some companies having debt obligations, they also have to make payments. If Apple is in India, they are investing in India. So it is an important function for the society, for the nation, and for the globe, foreign exchange market. Nobody can escape from foreign exchange market. Because if you being an Indian plate, agar Flipkart, we say Flipkart in India, can they escape? Because who's competing with Flipkart? Amazon is competing. You cannot ignore Amazon as a Flipkart player, isn't it? So you whether you like it or not, you have competition in the market with respect to foreign players, and that is why society, people, economy, world, all is dependent on or gets affected because of the foreign exchange market. Okay. So what is the role of foreign exchange market? That helps in currency conversions. अभी हमने देखा, you can convert INR to dollar. And if US people want to invest in India, or suppose US people come to see Agra, then in that case, they'll go to the bank. They'll say that we are giving you these many dollars, give us INR. Because Agra में तो उनको INR में spend करना पड़ेगा ना. So they also need Indian rupee. So this is also currency conversions. So foreign exchange market helps in currency conversions. It helps in facilitating trade across the border. So you are an importer and you have taken goods from any country, not necessarily from US, any country. So the bank will go for, suppose you have taken from China in renminbi, so bank will convert it into dollar. Often वो अपने accounts में settle करेगा. We will share that कि ये process क्या होता है. You may think that we are not the country which is transacting only with US. We are transacting with Japan, we are transacting with Russia, we are transacting with Europe, we are transacting with London, we are transacting with so many countries. हर country की अपनी currency है. But why do we say we settle all our accounts in USD INR? Because हर currency को आप settle करते हैं with respect to USD INR. That we'll share. Okay. So first in the form of what is foreign exchange market? Foreign exchange market is the market which facilitates foreign exchange transactions. For whom? It helps in currency conversions. Yes. So it helps in currency conversions. And if we say about Karthik, prior I had switched on the captions, but students said that do not go for it because उनको problem हो रहा था देखने में, so that's why I can't go for it. So basically, what happens here that currency conversions, foreign exchange market helps in currency conversions. It facilitates trade. It helps in investments. It helps in exchange of goods and services. It also helps in financial transactions. Moving people staying in Canada and they want to send money in India to their relatives. So it helps in financial transactions. Indian banks investing in foreign exchange market and international market, Nasdaq में अगर invest किया, then in that case it will be financial transactions. Companies they raise money through bonds in the international market. That is also financial transactions. So you may go for investments. Countries may go for investments. Countries may go for trade, exports and imports. They may go for exchange of goods and services and financial transactions. These all happen in foreign exchange market. Okay. So foreign exchange market is known as over-the-counter market. Over-the-counter market basically means that you go to the bank, you say that I'm going to Singapore tomorrow and I want these many Singapore dollars. So bank will say, okay, fine, you give me these many INR and I'll give you these many Singapore dollars. So what's happening here? You are going as an individual to the bank and the bank is settling your account on the 1:1 basis. This is known as over the counter. Over the counter means the transactions are settled like this. Okay, where buying and selling of global currency occurs and the rate is determined through which currency is more in demand. जिसकी currency की demand ज़्यादा होगी, वो उतनी strong होगी. Okay, so the exchange rate is exchange market में कौन-कौन players होते हैं? There are banks, there are foreign exchange dealers, there are companies, there are central banks, investment banks, hedge funds, foreign exchange dealers, investors. Okay, so all these players are part of exchange market. So what is unique about this foreign exchange market? It is 24 hours. You can transact 24 hours, except on weekends days. So on Saturdays and Sundays, it remains closed. Otherwise, it works 24 hours, 24 into 7 hours. Okay, across the world. So normally the market never gets closed. Because it's across the world, no? एक country में close होगा, दूसरे में ऊपर जाएगा, and so on and so on. So that is why this foreign exchange transaction market is open 24 into 7. Only it gets closed on weekends, that is Saturdays or Sundays. Okay, and that is why it is highly liquid in nature. Liquidity हमने share किया था, easy to convert to currency. And that is why people go for investing and looking for getting returns from foreign exchange market. But it is risky also at the same time. So what is your learning? Till now, foreign exchange market is an over-the-counter market. Over-the-counter means you can buy foreign exchange currency from any platform. Depends who are you. If you are a wholesaler, if you are Tata's, Birla's, Ambani's, then in that case, आपके foreign exchange transactions huge quantum में होंगे. So you are a wholesaler. So bank may offer you better rate. But you and me, if we go to the bank and say that we want to go abroad, I want to go for higher studies abroad, and I need this much. So which kind of borrowers we are? We are retail borrowers. Obviously, आप समझते हैं, wholesalers and retailers will get different rates because banks are doing business here. So it is a OTC product which is over the counter. Just आप medicine खरीदते हैं over the counter. Similarly, exchange you can go for forex you get over the counter. So this is known as over the counter foreign exchange market, and the rates are settled based on the transactions which are happening in the world market. And this happens 24 into 7. It gets closed only on weekends. Okay. So we have shared currencies are always traded in pairs. USD, INR, GBP, USD. Okay. GBP, JPY. So हमेशा दो currencies का currency exchange होता है, pairs. Okay. And this determines how much of country A currencies you can buy from country with respect to B. So we say 1 USD equal to 81.94 INR. That means how much you can buy USD based on INR, or how many INR आपको देने पड़ेंगे to buy 1 USD. Suppose you want to buy 100 INR, 100 USD, then you have to give 81.94 81.94 into 100. That's the amount you have to give to get 100 USD. Just the number बढ़ता जाएगा वैसे वैसे ये figure बढ़ता जाएगा. Okay, so this is how the currency gets determined. This establishes the price for the global market is the main function of foreign exchange market. So if rupee will become weaker, then in that case, USD will become stronger. And it also promotes liquidity in the financial markets. Currency, you can, Reserve Bank of India and banks can buy currency, can buy USD. They can buy, they can sell. It is liquid in nature. Okay? You go abroad and when you are back home, then you're left with you. Suppose you had taken $500 from the bank. Aapne USD 500 liye, but you have spent only $300. Now you're back home. You go to the bank and say that I want to give $200 to the bank. And the bank says you're giving $200 to the bank and you're getting INR from the bank. The bank will say, okay, fine, today the rate is 1 USD is equal to 81.94. And bank will fix 2 more digits about this. Okay, let's say 42. The bank will say the rate is 81.9442. And you will get at this rate. Okay, so 81.944 into 200 USD. That's the quantum of INR you will be getting from the bank. This rate, which is quoted by the bank today on 17th of April, when you had gone to the bank, this is known as spot rate. Spot rate is the rate which is quoted by the bank today when you are back from US and you say that I have taken $500, I've spent only 300, I have to go back to the bank, give $200 because what will I do of $200? अब मैं क्या करूँगा $200 का करूँगी? So you'll go to the bank and say, आप $200 ले लो and give me INR. So bank has to quote you rate now. So bank will say, okay, fine, I'm quoting the rate 1 USD equal to 81.94. So आपको कितना पैसा मिलेगा? 200 divided by 81.94 because ये USD में है. The bank will say that I'll give you this much amount of money. Sorry, 200 into 81.94, not division. So you will get 84, 200 into 81.9442. At this rate, bank will give you INR. Now, if the same day your friend goes and says that I want to get $200. If your friend goes and says, I want to get $200, so the fellow says to the bank that you give me $200. Now the bank says, I'm quoting you the rate 1 USD is equal to, आपको कितना दिया? 81.9, quoting you rate 81.9446. Because now what bank is doing? Bank को INR मिल रहा है. Yes, bank is getting INR. So bank wants to get more INR per dollar. So this is the rate bank will quote. So this is bank's selling rate of USD. When the bank is selling you USD, bank will quote higher rate. When the bank is buying USD, bank will quote lower rate. Yes. So this is the rate which the bank will go for buying from you dollar because bank is buying dollar and giving you INR. So bank has to give you INR now. So if bank has to give a INR, bank will go for quoting less rate or lower rate. And when bank has to give you dollars, then bank is getting INR. So bank will go for quoting higher rate. So this is known as ask and bid rate, buying rate and selling rate. Okay. Okay. It happens in a fraction of second, Varsha. It happens in a fraction of seconds. The rate fluctuates. You buy from the banks. No, any transaction, foreign exchange transaction cannot happen without bank or authorized dealer. Authorized dealers are banks which are appointed by Reserve Bank of India. और उसके बाद में आपके पास फॉरेन एक्सचेंज डीलर्स होते हैं जो कि मनी एक्सचेंज करते हैं. They do not have power to go for conversions जो करते हैं forex dealers. They go for conversions. So you go to the dealer and say कि foreign exchange authorized dealers are banks. Mariam, okay? Authorized dealers are banks. Absolutely, it varies because वो 24/7 हो रहा है ना मनोज. Transactions are happening every second. That is why it varies. Closing rate आप ले ही नहीं सकते हो. It is about banks which have to decide about कि क्या rate आपको offer करना है. You are going until unless you are trader. जब आप ट्रेड कर रहे हैं मार्केट में, जैसे आप स्टॉक्स में ट्रेड करते हैं, similarly you trade in forex also. So it changes. जैसे स्टॉक मार्केट में चेंज होता है रेट्स बाइंग एंड सेलिंग के थ्रू. Similarly, it happens. Your stock market is based on domestic market, but forex is based on international across the globe. So that's why it is 24/7. Concept same है, buying and selling of foreign exchange. Okay. So are you clear with the spot rate? And you understand that buying and selling rate of the bank, how they decide about? Okay. How the rate is calculated? We'll share, Stanshu, we'll share. So this is clear to you people? Okay, so what we have shared till now, we have shared base currency, we have shared variable currency, we have shared direct quote. Indirect quote क्या होगा? What will be indirect quote? Indirect quote will be one INR equal to how many USD? So indirect quote would be if we say 1 INR equal to how many USD? तो आप उस केस में क्या करेंगे? You will go for what we have shared. 1 USD equal to 81.94 INR. So it will be 1 upon 81.94. Is it a unitary method पढ़ा है ना आप लोगों ने सबने maths में? This will be how much? This will be USD. So 1 INR will be equal to 1 upon 81.94. This is indirect quote. Okay, indirect quote. Because इसमें base currency क्या हो गई? इसमें base currency आपकी home currency हो गई and variable currency हो गई USD. Okay, so this is indirect quote. Indirect quote. Now, in your book, they have also mentioned module. Direct quote is also European way of expressing. Okay, so आप इसको European way of expression कहते हैं. When we go for direct quote, जो India में हम practice करते हैं, and indirect quote is American way. Okay, if a bank is giving USD, then bank will charge high foreign exchange rate. But if bank is giving INR, dollar to rupee exchange rate will be high. Yes, Sharon, dollar to rupee, the rate will be high. Yes, simple is that. Simple, we had shared. आपने repo and reverse repo rate पढ़ा है. Repo rate is higher or reverse repo rate is higher? If Reserve Bank of India has to give loan to the bank, obviously Reserve Bank will charge higher. Reverse repo में RBI is taking. That is why it is less, isn't it? So similarly here, please do understand, अगर आप exporter हैं, अगर आप tourist हैं, you go to the bank and say that I'm going abroad. I'm going abroad means what do you need? You need dollar. You need dollar means you'll tell bank, आप मेरे से INR ले लो और मुझे dollar दे दो. That means what bank is doing? Bank is selling dollars. So bank will sell dollars. Bank will sell dollars. That means bank will be going for higher INR. आपसे जितना ज्यादा रुपीस दे सकता है बैंक उतना लेगा ना. So bank will take absolutely. So bank will go for taking higher. So obviously the buying rate or for the currency dollar INR, जब भी बैंक को आपको डॉलर देना होगा तो बैंक को मिलेगा क्या? INR. So if bank has to get INR, bank will go for this rate because per dollar bank will get more rupees from you. If bank has to sell USD to you, if bank has to take you, borrow from you, then in that case bank क्या कोड करेगा? 442. Because इसमें बैंक को आपको INR देना है. Bank has to give you INR, isn't it? So this is the profit of the bank. This is the margin of the bank. Bank's margin is buying and selling का difference. Is margin of the bank. और आप समझ रहे हैं, when you go for millions and trillions of exchange, then this figure goes up. And the bank's margin is only based on the last figure. यहाँ पे 4.2 है, यहाँ पे 4.6. Yes? So this is the ask and bid, buying and selling, direct and indirect quote, and foreign exchange transactions happens like this. Okay, so this is clear. I hope so. We are brilliant students. So spot rate we have shared. What is spot rate? Thanks, Bhumika. Bless you, Beta. So spot rate, what is spot rate? Spot rate we have shared. You go to the bank today, you say that 17th of April, you, the bank, give me the rate. I want $100. Bank will say, okay, fine. You take 81.422 at this rate, I'll give you. And this rate will be valid for next 2 days. So within 2 days, if you'll go for transacting, this will be this is spot rate. Spot rate. Spot rate. Who will enter into spot rate? Spot rate. Who will enter into spot rate? If you want to make payment online today itself, if you want to go abroad next day. Okay. So normally people, retailers, like people like us, individual people, or the traders who want money in a day only. Okay. So those people on a real-time basis, they go for settling the account. Exchange rate database says it's a source of rates is financial benchmarks India's private limited. Okay. Yes, they go for the rates based on they decide. I'll share that. Manoj will share. Fixed rate क्या होता है, flexible rate क्या होता है, benchmark rate कैसे decide होता है. Okay, so that we go for sharing. And since the rates changes every minute, that is why it is important to decide about that what should be the benchmark rate. Okay. Yes. So current receipts and payments, absolutely, Bhumika, absolutely. So the settlements which are done on 1 or 2 days basis, that is all settlements are done on spot exchange rate. Okay. Forward exchange rate. What is forward exchange rate? So let's say you are an exporter and you are getting payment after, let's say today is 17th of April. You have given goods on credit and you'll get payment in the month of 17th of August, let's say 2023, and you're getting $1,000. You'll be getting $1,000. Now today the rate is 1 USD equal to, just an assumption, okay, 81.42. That's the rate today. And we have seen that the Fed rate will going to increase and rupee will depreciate. And we expect that by August, things are not going to improve. Rather, it will become worse. चीजें world market में कुछ अच्छी नहीं होने वाली हैं, and it may go down. So we are not so optimistic about the market. We believe that 1 USD चला जाएगा equal to 81.48. Okay, so you are expecting that it will go down. Rupee will depreciate. Now, if you're exporter, you go to the bank today and say that मेरे को $1,000 17th August को मिलेंगे, आप rate quote कर दो. The bank will not quote this rate. Neither bank will quote this rate. Bank will quote rate somewhere in between these two. 1 USD, because bank भी तो अपना homework करेगा. Bank is also doing its homework. Because bank is not having you as a customer, only exporter. Bank also have a customer as importer. So importer will come and take USD from the bank, and you, the exporter, you want to deposit USD to the bank. So bank has to take care about both the players, no? The one who is taking and one who is depositing. So bank will quote the rate based on its homework somewhere in between. So bank will quote 81.43. Okay, so bank will say, okay, fine, I'm going to give you rate at 81.43 on 17th of August when you'll come to me for $1,000. So the person says, okay, fine, freezed, because he or she doesn't know, no, that rate may go up, rate may go down, but definitely it is more than 4.2. He or she expects. So, and the bank is offering more than 4.2. So let me enter. So the fellow says, okay, fine. So 17th of April, the deal is freezed between the bank and a exporter. 4,000 USD at the rate of 81.43. And the deal is freezed. Deal is freezed. After on 17th of August, when this exporter will go to the bank, bank will give him or her 81.43 into 1,000 USD rupees. So bank will give how much? 81.43 into 1,000 INR. This is forward rate. Today on 17th of April, the rate has been freezed for the future payment. And this is going to be honored by the bank. Okay, this is known as forward rate. Forward rate is clear. So forward market involves an agreement between the buyer and the seller to exchange currencies at an agreed price at a set date in the future. No exchange of actual currencies takes place, just the value. This exporter is not giving money. It's the value which has been freezed today, and the forward market is often used for hedging. Hedging, you understand? Hedging is to minimize risk. So exporter and importer enter into forward market to minimize risk. Because they know the market is highly volatile and the risk may go up and down. Okay, so Sharan wants this to be explained once more. Sharan, let's say that today on 17th of April, 1 USD at the spot rate is quoted at 81.42. Okay. And you are exporter. You are exporter means you'll get proceeds later. So you'll get proceed on 17th of August, 2023. You will go to your bank and say that I'm getting $1,000 on 17th of August. You give me the rate today. Bank will say, I can offer you 1 USD equal to 81.4, sorry, 81.44, let's say, or 43, whatever it is. So bank offers 44 or 43. Is it acceptable to you? You say yes, it is acceptable to me. Now you have not given $1,000 to the bank. Neither bank has given you INR, but deal ho gayi. Deal is fixed. On 17th of August, when your client, when your importer will pay you $1,000, this money will get deposited in your bank account. Once it gets deposited in the bank account, bank will give you 1,000 into 81.44 INR. This is known as forward rate. Is it clear, Sharan? So why an exporter should enter into this? If exporter feels that government of India is going to take measures and your rupee appreciate ho jayega, it will go down to, let's say, 1 USD equal to, आपने अपना maths कर लिया सारा, and you have come to the conclusion that this rate will go down to 81.40. That means rupee will appreciate. Now, if you as an exporter go for getting $1,000 in the month of August and you go at the spot rate conversion, spot rate में आपको क्या मिलेगा? 1,000 into 81.40 INR. But if you enter into the forward rate, how much you will get? You will get 1,000 into 81.44. How much you're getting additional? You're getting 0.4 additional per dollar. This is known as forward exchange rate. And this is a tool not for gaining. This foreign exchange is a tool not for gaining, simply for minimizing risk. So when you want to minimize risk, then you go for this forward foreign exchange market. Okay. Futures market is something different. Futures market is that it is traded on exchange. अभी आप किसके पास गए? बैंक के पास गए. So this is a OTC product. Forward foreign exchange market is a OTC product. OTC product means it varies from customer to customer, bank to bank. What kind of a customer you are and what kind of relationship you share with the bank and how frequently you transact with the bank. Bank आपको automatically accommodate करेगा. जैसे कोई भी business में आपको accommodate करती है. If you are a regular customer, you always get preference over the other players. So same happens here. Bank is doing business. Please keep it in mind. And this fellow is a customer of the bank. So for forward foreign exchange market is a OTC product. Okay, over the counter. What about futures market? Futures market, foreign exchange market is that it is traded on exchange. And here you cannot buy. You say that मुझे $1,050 मिलेंगे. I want to go for $1,050. So you can enter in forward market by going for $1,050. You can have in fractions also. But in future markets, there is lot wise. जैसे आप shares में करेंगे तो 100 का lot होगा. 100 shares is equal to 1 future. Okay. Similarly, promissory note तो negotiable instrument हो गए बेटा. These are not negotiable instruments. Sharon, these are not negotiable instruments, but simply like a kind of a agreement between the two players. Okay. It's not a negotiable instrument. So future market, what happens? This is traded on the exchange. Okay. This is traded on the exchange. आप exchange के through future में, suppose you want to make payment in future, then you go for entering into buying contract. आप buy कर लेंगे contract and you will go for honoring it at a future date. So future market is through exchange. It is a standardized product. What is true for customer A or the investor A is true for B, C, and D. But forward made varies from customer to customer, bank to bank. Yes, it's a OTC product. So it is a standardized one. Direct quote मैंने आपसे share कर दिया. What is direct quote? Direct quote is 1 USD is equal to 81.42 INR. 1 USD equal to 84.14 INR is a direct quote. Why? Because this is a base currency and this is a variable currency. This is a home currency and this is a forex currency, foreign exchange currency. And so foreign exchange rate quoted in fixed units of foreign currency, that is 1 USD, and in variable amounts of domestic currency, that is, it can be 81.42 INR, it can be 82.50 INR, it can be 80.42 INR, it can be 68.45 INR. This is varying. This is direct quote. This is also known as European quote. Okay. A direct currency quote asks what amount of domestic currency is needed to buy 1 unit of foreign exchange. The major pair of currencies traded in the world market is, so someone was asking me, ma'am, is it only USD? It can be Euro, USD, Japanese yen, Great Britain pound, USD, and Swiss franc. So the major currencies traded in the world market is Euro, USD, Japanese yen, Great Britain pound, and Swiss franc. So these currencies are the major currencies which are traded in the foreign exchange market because of the maximum transaction which happens in the world market होता है in 5 currencies में Euro, USD, Japanese yen, Great Britain pound, and Swiss franc. Okay. So direct code is clear. Direct code we have shared. Every currency has 3 letters. मैंने आपको बता दिया 3 letter. USD is 3 letter. INR is 3 letter. GBP is 3 letter. JPY is 3-letter. Swiss franc is 3-letter. Singapore dollar is 3-letter. So all currencies are expressed in 3 letters as per standard international standard organization. And the base currency is given first. So you go for quoting base currency as first and variable other. And you segregate them by slash or by like this. You go for it. So this is how you represent it, okay? Direct quote. And this is what I've quoted at on 16th of April. You can see here 1 USD equal to 81.85 INR. So this is spot rate. Okay, and this is the fluctuations in the rate you can see here. So this was in the month of March, it was 82.5, and in the April it has gone down to 80. It is less than 82. That means rupee has appreciated. Rupee is appreciating. Yes, rupee is appreciating. So Indian rupee is becoming strong. Rupee is appreciating. Okay. This is indirect code. Indirect code means 1 INR equal to how many dollars? 1 INR equal to how many dollars? No, Varsha, countries, they do not change base currency anytime because it's a matter of trade and your all books, balance of payment, your foreign exchange transactions, your cross-country rates, which we will be sharing, everything gets impacted because of that. Yes, countries may go for it, but over the period of time. So fixed exchange rate. What is fixed exchange rate? Fixed. अभी हमने देखा. We said 1 USD equal to 81.25, or it may be 80.50, or it may be 81.84. So what kind of currency we have in exchange rate we have in India? We have a floating exchange rate. We have a floating exchange rate. It's determined on the basis of market forces, demand and supply. Okay, so in India we follow floating exchange rate. Fixed, and whether it is a free float or a fixed float, that will fixed float and free float will share. So free floating currency includes US dollar, Japanese yen. We follow fixed float. Fixed float means if rupee depreciates too much, then RBI will intervene. Yes. So we accept floating exchange rate, and RBI intervenes in the market if it goes too low or if it goes too high. Okay, but free float is that US, they will never go for intervening. Japanese yen, they never go for intervening. British pound, they do not intervene. So that is 100% free floating currencies. So these currencies, three currencies are 100% free floating currencies. That is US dollar, Japanese yen, and British pound. Okay. So fixed currency. What is fixed exchange rate? Fixed exchange rate are mainly found in normally poor countries, underdeveloped countries. They practice it because why do they practice this? They practice this because it helps them. No, if they keep their currency in floating rate, what is going to happen if currency depreciates? These countries as such are very poor. They'll become further poor. So it's very important for them to maintain exchange rate, stable exchange rate. So they go for fixed exchange rate, like Africa and other Middle East countries. So poor the country is, they go for maintaining fixed exchange rate. How do they maintain? They go for pegging it. Pegging it means their benchmark currency, they fix it up with the benchmark currency and they ensure that it should not deviate. So if they say, suppose fixed exchange rate, we can say 1 USD. अगर इंडिया ने कर दिया फिक्स एक्सचेंज रेट 1 USD is equal to 84 INR. Freezed. Fixed हो गया ये. If suppose in India dollar inflow increases, then what should happen? अगर dollar more आ गया तो what should happen in that case? Sharon, developing a country like India is most of the countries are developing countries are practicing. China ने बहुत समय पैक किया but India has always followed floating exchange rate. Okay, so where was I? Okay, so if we say this is what we have fixed, okay, so let's say India has pegged. Rajiv, if RBI has to intervene, abhi share karenge beta. What is why RBI should intervene when rupee goes down or rupee appreciates? We'll share that. Okay, we'll share. Give me some time. First, be very clear with the concepts. Okay, so fixed exchange rate. What's happening here in the fixed exchange rate? So 1 USD equal to 84 INR. This is fixed. Suppose India goes for fixing it. So this is fixed. Now let's say that if Fed rate increases in US, okay, if Fed rate increases in US and people start withdrawing dollars, then this 1 USD will go down in the market to 84.68 INR, let's say 68 INR. But we have fixed to 84 INR. So what RBI will do? What RBI will do in this case? RBI has to borrow more dollars from the market and inject dollars in the economy. Yes. Why? Because आपका INR weak हो रहा है. Why INR is becoming weak? Because there is dollar outflow. Dollar आपकी country से जा रहा है. USD is going out, and that is why your INR is becoming weak. Since your INR is becoming weak, and since you have already freezed it up to 1 USD equal to 84 INR, what Reserve Bank of India has to do? Reserve Bank of India has to buy more dollars and pump into the economy so that the rate comes back to 84 INR. So in the fixed exchange rate, the federal bank has to only take care about that this rate should be maintained. It should not go up, it should not go down. That is what is pegged rate. Okay, so आपने peg किससे कर दिया? आपने डॉलर से peg कर दी अपनी currency. You have pegged your currency to dollar. Okay, now since you have pegged, go ahead. Just now we had shared that we are in a floating exchange rate. Floating exchange rate means there's no power. In fixed exchange rate, the country decides. Country decides that which rate we have to fix it up. Okay, so country monetary policy of the country, once they decide, then they have to stick to it. उसके बाद आप कुछ नहीं कर सकते. Then you have to manage it. Okay. So central bank. So in the fixed exchange rate, what happens? The central bank links its currency to another currency. Just in this case, for example, we say that central bank ने INR to USD से link कर दिया. Okay, so INR has been linked to USD, making it so that the rate will not change. I've told you already, this rate gets freezed. 1 USD equal to 84 INR. This gets freezed. Once it is freezed, then RBI has to work on maintaining this rate. RBI cannot afford that it should go up, it should go down. It has to be 84 INR all throughout. Okay, so most often countries peg their rate to the US dollar, but it can also be seen pegged to euro, yen, or basket of currencies. I hope one of you had asked. So it can also be pegged to euro. Countries can peg to euro, yen, or basket. Now the question is that euro se kyun peg karenge? Because if a country has major transactions with European country, it's better to go for pegging it with euro, isn't it? If they have major transaction with Japan, so it's better to go for pegging it to yen. Or you can go for pegging together with basket of currencies. So all 5 currencies you take together and you find out that weighted mean aapne padha hai na, weighted mean. So which is the currency which is more in demand? So you assign the highest weightage to that currency. So let's say that weight assigned to US dollar is 5 and the weight assigned to euro is 3. Sorry, euro is 3. Okay, and say that to Japanese yen is 2 and Swiss franc is 1. So in that case, this currency will be pegged with respect to all these currencies in the terms of weightage assigned. इसकी जो value होगी market में and respect to this into multiplied by 5 and multiplied by 3 and 2 and this, whatever is the value which comes here, based on that, the currency will be pegged. So you can peg the currency with basket of currencies, or you can peg it to individual currency. The country may peg its currency to dollar, can peg it to euro, can peg it to yen, or it can peg it to group of currencies. Group of currencies कौन सी होंगी जो major trading currencies हैं world market. Okay, and what the central bank has to do, what is the core job of central bank? Central bank has to intervene to maintain the foreign exchange reserve, because इस case में क्या होगा? RBI should have enough of USD. If market goes down, then RBI has to pump, isn't it? So then in that case, central bank should have more foreign exchange reserves or a buffer stock of foreign exchange reserves in the case when you go for pegging your currency. The central bank uses these funds to adjust the fluctuations of the market, and this is only so the only thing RBI or the federal bank is going to do is maintain the currency exchange rate. This is known as fixed exchange rate. Okay. Is it clear? So India is practicing floating exchange rate. US is practicing complete floating exchange rate where they do not go for intervening. India, jaisi country may we go for intervening. Now Rajiv is asking why intervention. We'll share that. Okay, so what is fixed currency exchange rate? What is the plus and minus of fixed exchange rate? Fixed currency exchange rate, especially for underdeveloped countries, it helps them to maintain the stable currency. सबको पता है it will be $1 equal to 41 or 81 INR. So that is how, isn't it? So the currency remains stable. So that gives benefit to underdeveloped countries. At least people develop trust that this is not going to change. Okay, it can help to lower down inflation. Because once people develop trust, people will be investing in a country. Investment means आपने multiplier पढ़ा है. If people invest, that means it generates income and it keeps inflation under control. Yes, and the central bank also. So central bank also has the power to maintain rate. So central bank can take care about maintaining the exchange rate at that point. So that's the role of the central bank, and this is the plus of fixed currency. That means it is pegged to a specific currency or it is pegged to group of currencies. What is minus of this? Minus is that central bank has to intervene quite often, because if जहाँ भी rate change हुआ, then central bank has to intervene. Currency loses monetary independence. You do not have existence of your home currency. It is only the foreign currency which matters. So आपका monetary system is very, very weak. It is only dependent on foreign currency. And if something goes wrong with that foreign currency, you're gone, no? So that's the risk you are exposing to when you go for a fixed currency exchange rate. And it is expensive also because आपको वो exchange rate maintain करना पड़ेगा as a federal bank. Floating exchange rate we have shared. That is determined through what? It is determined through demand and supply forces. So floating exchange rate it gives more option to the Reserve Bank of India or to the central bank to take measures. Now, but the minus is that it keeps on fluctuating. जैसे हमने देखा, the rate keeps on fluctuating. It is highly volatile. The risk is there because it is volatile in nature. Volatile means it goes up and down. That's why the risk is there. But in this case, plus is that you maintain your monetary policy, isn't it? You need not go for having reserves supporting equal amount of your liabilities because it is a floating exchange rate. So you allow it to move as per the market rates, isn't it? So floating exchange rate, we have shared fixed exchange rate. I hope आप सबको समझ में आ गया है. Fixed exchange rate is a pegged rate, and what are the limitations of the fixed exchange rate? Okay, then floating exchange rate. Floating exchange rate we have shared. India का case, classic case is floating exchange rate. US is also following. Great Britain is also following floating exchange rate. It depends on supply and demand. Okay, if the demand for currency is high, what will happen? If people in India demand more USD, if you demand more USD, what is going to happen? It's a simple concept. How do you behave? During COVID time, what happened during COVID time? Zoom was in demand. Yes, Zoom was in demand. So what happened to Zoom price? Zoom initially was offering free, and then they said Only 40 minutes you can get free. Otherwise, we'll charge price from you. Yes? So, yes, absolutely right. USD becomes strong. Bhumika is right. So what is going to happen? If dollar demand goes up, that means your rupee will become weak and dollar will become strong. Why? Because the demand of dollar is more. So dollar demand is more with respect to rupee. If USD demand is more than INR, or you need more dollar, then in that case, your rupee will become weak. If USD demand decreases, then obviously INR will become strong. Yes. So the value of the currency is based on supply and demand of dollar. When the demand is low, a country will experience appreciation respectively. So International Monetary Fund considers any country that is driven by floating exchange rate to maintain financial maturity. If your financial system is stable, then in that case, आपकी country stable है. Country stable है, that means investors will develop trust in your country. Investors develop trust in country means they'll invest in your country. They invest in your country means US dollar supply will increase. US dollar supply will increase means your currency will become strong. At the same time, Government of India creating conducive environment for exports. So if the country will be more export driven, we'll get more dollars. So dollar, if we have more dollars, we can pay for our imports. That means we will not land up in debt. We will not land up in debt means we will be more strong country and more strengthened country. So that is what is financial stability is all about. So if a country is financially mature means RBI knows its role very well. Commercial banks, they know, they are duly aware about that what they have to practice. Financial markets knows about that how the market should be behaving. So this makes financial maturity. अगर आपका financial system strong है, आपकी currency strong होगी. We have seen what happened to Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka went into debt because of huge loan obligations. The currency of Sri Lanka crashed. Isn't it depreciated like anything? Inflation went up, currency depreciated because उनके debt obligations बहुत थे. So that is what. So financial health of the country decides about कि आपकी currency कितनी strong है. Okay. So what is nominal exchange rate? Nominal exchange rate is the rate which is quoted $1 equal to 81.42 INR is a nominal exchange rate. आप simply quote कर रहे हैं $1 equal to how many INR is the nominal exchange rate. Are you taking prices into consideration? No. So it is a nominal exchange rate. Yes. So nominal exchange rate is the rate which we quote with respect to another currency. Just a US dollar, $1 is equal to $1.36. €1 is equal to $1.36. So that is known as nominal exchange rate. Okay, so nominal rate is the rate which is quoted with respect to the current rate is nominal rate. Now, real exchange rate or the real exchange rate, what is real exchange rate? When we talk about exchange rate of INR with respect to group of currencies of other countries. Okay, group of तभी तो आपको पता चलेगा कि आपकी करेंसी कितनी स्ट्रांग है. If you only take it with USD, how will you come to know when you have to transact with Japan, when you have to transact with the European countries, when you have to transact with Great Britain? How will you come to know about what is the value of your currency? So what is the how real exchange rate we take care about in real exchange rate? We take group of currencies together, or we measure our currency value with respect to another country's currency, or we measure with respect to group of currencies of the other countries. Okay, so that is known as real exchange rate. So nominal exchange rate के factors क्या है? If inflation will go up, obviously nominal rate will go up. Yes, if your country depends on more on imports, then the nominal rate will go up because आपको डॉलर की डिमांड मोर होगी. So if you have more dollar demand, that means nominal exchange rate will go up. $1 equal to, that means basically rupee will depreciate. Yes. So rupee will depreciate. The currency of the exporting country will appreciate and your currency will depreciate. So this is how nominal exchange rate is decided. Now, if you see nominal exchange rate, you can see here, this is the demand for dollar in India, and this is the supply of dollar. And let's say that at this demand and supply of dollar, when it is equilibrium, $1 equal to 81.42 is the equilibrium exchange rate. Okay, so this is the nominal exchange rate. Any change in the demand, what is going to happen if the demand for dollar increases? The demand goes up from D to D dash. What's going to happen? The exchange rate here in that case will be fixed at a higher rate. Yes, so you'll be getting, because supply is not changing, no? So in that case, rupee will become further weaker because the demand for dollar goes up. Now $1 will be equal to 81.48. Rupee depreciates because the demand for dollar increases and the supply is not going to increase. If the supply is not going to increase, then the INR will depreciate. If supply is going to increase, if supply increases, then I'm sorry for this, this should be straight line. If supply of dollar increases, then S dash, then rupee will become strong. That means $1 is equal to 80.42. So if the supply of USD is greater than USD demand, then rupee will strengthen. Rupee will appreciate. Yes. Nominal exchange rate won't take another currency. We are taking, no, Sharon, we are taking dollar and INR. This is dollar demand in India and this is dollar supply in India. And then we are saying that rupee is strengthening or rupee is weakening. So we are taking it with respect to rupee only. Okay. Absolutely. Absolutely. So what is real exchange rate? Nominal, we have seen the nominal depends on market forces of demand and supply. Suppose Russia and Ukraine fighting. Okay. Russia and Ukraine fighting. And India, and suppose Russia would not have accommodated India. अभी तो आप देखिए, Russia has given India oil in terms of INR. अगर वो कहते हैं हम डॉलर में ही देंगे आपको, then in that case, what would have happened? Since we want to buy oil and our demand for oil is inelastic, आपने elasticity पढ़ी है ना? So the demand is inelastic. So what is going to happen? We will be paying more dollar, more INR for oil because हमारी demand oil के लिए inelastic है. So if it is inelastic, then we would pay more dollar. And this will make India lose its currency, will depreciate further. Yes. So what India has done with Russia will take it in rupee only. जब आपने rupee में transaction किया, then in that case, dollar is nowhere in the picture. So in that, dollar is not getting affected, isn't it? So exchange rate is not getting affected because आपका transaction सारा INR में हो रहा है. Yes. So that is how countries they go for managing their foreign exchange transactions in adverse circumstances. अभी जैसे scenario है, इस case में it's better to develop such kind of relationship and transact so that the demand for dollars should not exceed beyond a point जिससे कि आपकी currency बहुत ज़्यादा depreciate हो जाए. Okay, so real exchange rate. What is real exchange rate? Real exchange rate is you have to see that your currency with respect to exchange rate and what is the price in India with respect to the price in foreign. So let's say there's a Big Mac index. Big Mac index. Big Mac index. This Big Mac index is like McDonald's burger. Okay. So McDonald's burger in US and in India, in INR, in US dollars and INR. What is with the same stuffing, with the same content, okay? What is the rate of burger in US and with respect to in India? Suppose let's say burger is costing, make back burger in US is costing one USD, okay? And in India, if one USD is equal to 84 INR. Okay, 1 USD equal to, so this is the exchange rate. ये आपका हो गया nominal exchange rate. Yes. And domestic price burger की कितनी है इंडिया में? Let's say domestic price of burger in India is Big Mac is 64. Okay, so 84 into 64 divided by the forex price. Forex price is how much? The foreign exchange rate which is there. So 1 USD equal to how much? 1 USD equal to 84 INR. You go for comparing and then you calculate the rate. So this is known as Big Mac index. So foreign price of the good, foreign price is 1 USD, no? So you take it 1 USD here. And then you go for calculating 64. No, this is 84 and this is how many dollars? 64 is how many dollars? So you have to take, let's say it is $1 only. So if it is $1, then you go for taking it. So if the value comes $1 equal to 1, that means this value comes to $1 USD is equal to 84. That means the rate is at par. This rate and the rate of McDonald's burger is same. But in case if McDonald's burger costs you $2, then in that case, there's inflation in India. Yes. So real effective exchange rate is the rate which we take it with respect to group of currencies, global currencies together you take. Here we have taken only USD, no? Here we take group of currencies together and then we calculate. That is known as effective exchange rate. Effective exchange rate means you calculate the external competitiveness of the economy based on 5 currencies or the leading currencies in the world market. So real exchange rate, what is real exchange rate? You take nominal exchange rate, you take domestic price index. Domestic price index means CPI. CPI of India and CPI of US. And the nominal exchange rate. Nominal exchange rate means 81.42. And then you calculate. Inflation in US and inflation in India and inflation in US. This gives you the real exchange rate. So exchange rate concept, real effective exchange rate or the nominal effective exchange rate is the value of currency, domestic currency against weighted average of foreign currencies divided by deflator or index cost. Deflator means INR deflator आपने पढ़ा है ना, GDP deflator, nominal GDP to real GDP. Nominal to real GDP. Yes. This is GDP deflator. Similarly, here we take domestic prices, domestic index with respect to forex index, foreign exchange price index. The deflator. Yes. So this is the deflator, GDP deflator. This is deflator in the foreign exchange market. So deflator, we take it as deflator and calculate. So this is the example which will make you further clear. Okay, so how do you calculate real exchange rate? So real exchange rate is calculated between two currencies here, between the two currencies. Nominal exchange rate. Nominal exchange rate, let's say 1 euro is equal to how much? 1.36 USD. Okay, so this is the exchange rate. 1 euro is equal to $1.36. Okay, so dollar cost of euro is given to you. Okay, this is the exchange rate. And you have to calculate the ratio between the prices between the two countries. So the equation here is real exchange rate is, this is the nominal exchange rate. This is the price of goods price of good in the European area. This is the price. Sorry, this is the price in the European area, and this is the price in the United States. So price in the United States is in the denominator, and price in European area is PS strip. Okay. So we are taking Big Mac example here. Big Mac, I've already told you. You can find out Big Mac index. Through this, countries, they go for measuring which country is having higher inflation rate. So to find out inflation, you can go for this. Sometimes they call it as purchasing power parity also, PPP also. Okay. So what is happening here? The nominal exchange rate is equal to 1.36. We have shared 1 euro equal to 1.36 USD. So the nominal exchange rate in euro is 1.36. Yes. And if it is in Germany, then the German price is 2.5 euros. So let's say the burger price is 2.5 euros in Germany, and the exchange rate is 1.36. And in US, the price is $3.40. So how will you calculate the real exchange rate in Germany? You will calculate the real exchange rate in Germany. Nominal exchange rate is 1.36. Price in Germany is 2.5 euros divided by price in US, that is 3.40. So if you divide, then in that case, the real exchange rate you get is $1. One. That means the price in the two countries are same. But if the German price were 3 euros rather than 2.5 euros, okay, if the German price would have been 3 euros, so आप इसको 3 से multiply करते, because this is what? This is the nominal exchange rate. This is the rate. This is the price in home country, and this is the price in foreign country. Then the value comes to 1.2. That means in Germany, McDonald's burger is expensive by 0.2 as compared to US. So that means Germany is having inflation. So to find out inflation and to find out the real exchange rate, this is the formula which is used. E stands for nominal exchange rate. P is the price in the domestic country, and P is the price in the foreign country. If you want to go for real effective exchange rate, तब आप price एक commodity का नहीं लेंगे. You will take index, price index in India and price index in US. Price index is, we calculate price index in India through CPI, no? Consumer Price Index. And here we calculate price index for consumer price index in US. So this will give you real effective exchange rate when you go for index. जब आप केवल price ले रहे हैं, then you get real exchange rate. Okay. जब आप केवल nominal exchange rate ले रहे हैं, then you're talking only in terms of Indian good with respect to the price of the foreign good. Okay. So this is the difference. Is it clear? Now we are going to talk about soft peg versus hard peg. So we have shared pegging. Pegging हमने share किया. Pegging क्या होता है? That is a rate which is fixed exchange rate, where the currency is pegged to the other currency. That is known as hard peg. Hard peg means आपने currency को fix कर दिया and you cannot go for changing that. That is a hard peg. Soft peg is the foreign exchange market usually determines the currency exchange rate, but the government sometimes intervenes. जब currency fluctuate हो सकती है for some point of time, that is known as soft peg. But where there's no possibility of any change in the currency, that is known as hard peg. Okay, in hard peg exchange rate policy, the government chooses an exchange rate and it maintains that exchange rate. Okay, government chooses a particular exchange rate and then they maintain that exchange rate. But in soft peg, central bank can intervene. Central bank can intervene. And how central bank intervenes? Central bank can intervene by lowering interest rates. अगर आप lower कर देंगे interest rate को, then what is going to happen? It can raise or lower the interest rate. If you lower the interest rate, आपकी currency weak हो जाएगी. If you go for raising the interest rate, your currency becomes strong. So if you want to make your currency strong, Then you raise the interest rate. If you want to make your currency weak, then you go for lowering the interest rate. So in soft peg, the currencies can fluctuate based on the central bank intervention. But in hard peg, it is decided by the government and they stick to it. Okay, so that's the difference between hard peg and soft peg. So what are the challenges of hard peg? Hard peg is you have to maintain the currency. उसके लिए आपको उतना forex reserve रखना पड़ेगा. You have to have forex reserves to meet all your liabilities. So to maintain the forex liabilities, you have to have foreign exchange reserves. So hard peg exchange rate will reduce exchange rate fluctuations. That is a plus. Volatility itni nahi hogi, but a country must focus its monetary policy on the exchange rate, not on fighting recession or inflation. So what will be the role of the central bank? Not to take care about inflation, not to take care about aggregate demand is going down, unemployment is increasing. You cannot do anything about these things. You simply have to maintain balanced exchange rate. That is hard-pegged currency challenge, okay? This is what happens in hard-peg currency. If you go for hard-peg, आपने जब freeze कर दिया currency को, then in that case, if depreciation happens, if your country's currency depreciates with respect to, suppose dollar se freeze kiya, and then the country's currency depreciates, then in that case, what happens? Depreciate means your export become competitive. You gain more in the market, isn't it? So you go for आपकी बढ़ जाएगी because currency has become weaker. So you go for export increases. Exporters will increase because they'll get more dollar. No, per dollar they'll get $1. They'll get more currency in that case because your rupee has depreciated. So if rupee depreciates and it is pegged, that means export goes up, imports goes down. Yes. And since export goes up, that means the aggregate demand in the economy will increase. Export goes down, goes up means you will create more jobs. Exporters, they need production. Production means more job, more employment. And that is why your balance of payment will improve. So your current account deficit will decrease and your currency, you will have more USD. You become strong. You become strong means your currency appreciates. Your currency appreciates means then the bank has to intervene because आप appreciation allow नहीं कर सकते. And then what the bank has to do? Bank has to print more currency to buy more dollars. Printing more currency to buy more dollars means money supply in the economy will increase, prices will increase, and this will make economy more difficult to sustain. And if this is not managed here, then in that case, it can lead to financial crisis in the economy. So that is the challenge of pegged exchange rate. So here you can see what is happening because of the pegged exchange rate. Agar this is soft peg, okay, soft peg. This is equilibrium exchange rate. But agar Brazil may real is the currency of Brazil, okay? So real, if they fix it on the lower side, so the exchange rate should be 35, $1 equal to 35 real. But if they fix it at 30, that means what's going to happen? The demand will increase and the supply will be less. Now to balance this, what has to be done? Then the federal bank has to go for injecting more dollars. More dollars means what is going to happen? Real will strengthen. Real strengthens means this demand will decrease and this supply will increase and the economy will be back on this position. Yes. So the federal bank has to go for injecting dollar or has to withdraw dollars. That is the rule. And for this, enough dollar reserves have to be maintained. To maintain this and nothing else. Okay. Mohit is saying to take break. Mohit, I don't know how will we finish this because this is a very complicated and long chapter. But let me finish this soft peg, then we'll go for a break. Okay. So peg. What is soft peg? Peg is that कुछ volatility रहेगी exchange rate में. It may go up, जैसे आपने इसमें देखा. It may go up, it may go down. So that is. But in the case of hard peg, there's no possibility of any change in the exchange rate. Okay. That's the difference between soft peg and. But in the soft peg, what is required to maintain that additional volatility? RBI or the central bank has to constantly work on predicting market up jayega, down jayega. Accordingly, that they have to maintain foreign exchange reserves. Okay. So we'll share this after 10 minutes break, as I hope all of you need break and I also need break and stop speaking. Okay, so let's meet after 10 minutes. Okay. Okay. Okay, so we have shared about floating, fixed, and peg. Okay, and this is one of the extensions. So currency board is kind of a peg only. इसमें भी peg होता है, but basic difference ये है कि इसमें short, it is about group of countries together. Okay, few countries together, they decide about. So currency board is the committed is about monetary liabilities, वो fixed exchange rate पे decide करते हैं, and for a specific period of time. Like the concept is same as pegged only, but this is about group of countries. Okay, so group of countries together, they go for following one currency as their base currency, and they peg the currency with respect to that, or they fix their exchange rate with respect to that. Okay. So currency board is committed to supplying or redeeming its monetary liabilities at fixed exchange rate. So rate is fixed, that is pegged to a foreign currency, which implies that it must hold foreign. I've already told you, when you peg a currency, then you have to have एक specific forex reserves आपको रखने पड़ेंगे अपने पास. Yes, so you have to maintain a forex reserve to maintain that currency. It should not go up, it should not go down, because you have pegged your currency to a fixed exchange rate. And the currency board can only take care about monetary liabilities. They cannot go for creating money, because after all, you can buy dollars, you can go for selling dollars, but you cannot create dollars because that is not your home currency. So you cannot create. Simply you have to go for, so banks have absence of credit creation. जो हमने पढ़ा था, you remember credit multiplier? So आपके पास credit multiplier की capacity नहीं है, because you do not have that currency. आपने अपनी करेंसी को पैक कर दिया फॉरेन करेंसी से. So this is the currency board which can lead to problem, because banking system collapse हो सकता है आपका, because आपके पास banks की कोई sanctity नहीं है in that case. Your whole reliance is on currency, external currency to which you have pegged your currency. That is currency board, where group of countries go for pegging their currency to one, maybe to euro, maybe to dollar. Okay, so this is given in your module. You can see there they've given for separate legal tender. So this is given by IMF. IMF ने different categories दी हैं. They have given different categories. How countries they go for pegging their currency, which countries they go for keeping their currency floating, which countries keep managed floating, which countries go for completely floating. Okay, so this is what is given in your module also. You can see. So separate legal tender means that member belongs to a monetary or currency union in which same legal tender is shared. So group of countries, जैसे Ecuador है, Salvador है, these group of countries they have pegged their currency to US dollar. So group of countries ने अपनी currency को एक legal tender के साथ freeze कर दिया. That is $1. So this is a different currency and your home currency is different, but you have pegged it to that. Okay, so this is one separate legal tender. This is followed by 13 countries. This is of 2020 data. So 2023, there's no information of this. There may be some changes also. So currency board arrangements. So in the currency board arrangement, what do they do basically? They are committed to exchange domestic currency for a specific currency at a fixed rate. Okay. So here they go for fixing to a specific currency for a fixed period of time, which is followed by, let's say, Hong Kong, Grenada. They have pegged their currency to dollar. Now Hong Kong is with China, so that you have to see. Bosnia and Herzegovina, Bulgaria have pegged their currency to euro. So these currencies have been pegged to euro at a fixed exchange rate. Okay, for a specified foreign currency at a fixed exchange rate. So this is currency board arrangements, which is practiced by countries which are not so sure about their currency, and those who want more stability in their economy, they go for this. Other conventional fixed peg arrangements are followed by Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, United Emirates. किससे पैक किया उन्होंने? $2. Okay, Mali, Niger, Cameroon have pegged their currency to euro. So they have pegged their currency to euro, and once they have pegged their currency at a fixed rate, with a basket, they may peg it to basket of currencies also. So group of currencies के, but यहाँ पे तो US dollar and euro individual currency से किया है. And they go for, they do not go for fixed like we have shared, no? Fixed, here it is fixed. Here they keep margin of 1 plus minus, it can vary. So it can vary up to 1% up and 1% down. Okay, so that much variation they keep margin here in the terms of exchange rate. So this is conventional fixed peg, conventional fixed arrangement where they go for fixed exchange rate, but उसमें margin रखते हैं 1% का variation. It can be with respect to group of currencies also of the countries. Okay, then pegged exchange rate within horizontal band. Horizontal band only by one country, that is stronger. What they have done within the margin of fluctuations around a fixed exchange rate that is wider than plus minus 1. So they fix a range which is more than, they go for a range which is more than 1 plus minus 1. So this is how they go for value of the currency. So here they go for deciding the value of the currency with respect to 1% over and above. Absolutely, currency board for stability. Yes, Sharon, you're right. Crawling peg का मतलब ही ये है कि you keep on adjusting. You adjust over the period. So currency is adjusted. It is adjusted periodically. So you adjust it. Crawling means over the period of time, no? Over the period of time. So that is crawling. So you adjust after a specific period of time. So periodically you go for taking, evaluating it and then going for deciding. So pre-announced rate, they go for pre-announcing. So they go for 2024 May, let's say 2023, they have decided that 2024 May, this should be the rate. And then they go for monitoring it in 2024. And then they see if the rate goes over and above this or below this, then they take due measures. Okay, so what happens here? What happens in crawling peg? Crawling peg is they take care about periodically, they adjust it in small amount, which is on the pre-announced rate. Okay, and then they have to go for taking specific measures to bring it back to the initial. So crawling peg is practiced by 3 countries here, which you can see. Crawl-like arrangements are, here we are seeing crawling peg. Here we are taking crawl-like peg. Crawl-like arrangement basically means इसमें आपने फिक्स के कंसर्न में किया, ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम आपने फिक्स रख दिया, दिस शुड बी द रेट. यहाँ पे आपने किया कि इट दिस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम इट कैन वेरी हाउ मच 1 to 2%. 1 to 2% variation is acceptable. So when you fix the margin here in terms of variation, so that means you're keeping some scope, no? That range can be, it can go up to 1%, it can go down to 1% within the range of 1 to 2%. So that's crawl-like arrangement. Crawl-like तो है, but इसमें आपने यहाँ पे range fix कर दिया and monitoring what you'll do in a periodical manner. Okay, so that is crawling. Other managed arrangements, which is a combination of 1 or 2, which the countries may practice, is a other managed arrangements. Then floating. Floating जैसे इंडिया में है. What kind of India, Philippines, New Zealand, Malaysia? So these countries, they practice floating. So 35 major countries are in the category of floating exchange rate. Floating exchange rate we have shared. RBI can decide. RBI can not decide, but RBI definitely intervenes. Now we will come to the question कि RBI क्यों intervene करता है? So RBI can intervene if they find that rupee बहुत depreciate हो गया है या rupee बहुत strong हो गया है. If rupee becomes very strong, if rupee depreciates, then RBI will intervene. And we have seen completely free floating is in US, it is in London, Great Britain. So it is free floating in those countries, floating in 35 countries. So these are different ways through which currencies are managed in different countries. कुछ countries में peg कर दिया उसको, कुछ में उसको crawling peg कर दिया, किसी में उसको floating रखा, किसी में उसको variation के साथ crawl किया. Okay, so this is how they decide about. So respective countries have decided based on their economic conditions. उनकी country में क्या economic status है? Should they rely more on foreign currency to communicate to the rest of the world, or should they have their own currency? So जैसे जैसे कंट्री प्रोग्रेस करता है, जैसे डेवलप करता है, दे बिकम मोर इनटू फ्लेक्सिबल फ्लोटिंग एक्सचेंज रेट. द कंट्रीज व्हिच आर स्टिल अंडर डेवलप्ड, जिनकी करेंसी बहुत अनस्टेबल है, दे गो फॉर पेगिंग देयर करेंसी Okay, and those who are in between these two, they'll go for obviously crawling peg or something like that, which can make them more sustainable. So this is how it works. Okay, so this is the you see here what hard peg हमने share किया. Hard peg is four fixed exchange rate, where the monetary authority has no job except central bank has job what to maintain exchange rate. They cannot take care about inflation. They cannot take care about recession. They cannot take care about unemployment. They cannot take care about economic growth of the country. They are co-responsible for taking care about exchange rate. That's the drawback of hard peg. So 12.5% of IMF members have followed hard peg. Okay. No separate legal tender is practiced by 6.8. Currency board हमने share किया. Group of countries following one currency is 5.7. Soft peg is 46.46. So इन दोनों का sum अगर आप देखें, no separate legal tender and currency board are the components of hard peg. So hard peg is, these two are in the category of hard peg. Yes. And soft peg is 46.4, जो highest है. Highest number of countries are practicing soft peg. And soft peg comprises of conventional peg, stabilized arrangement, crawling peg, crawl-like arrangement. Okay, pegged exchange rate within the horizontal band. So अगर आप इन सब का sum लेंगे, that will come 46.4. So these are soft pegs. These are all components of soft peg. Yes, these are components of hard peg. And up to this. And these are components of soft peg, which comes to 46.4, which is maximum. Okay, and then floating. Floating is 34.4. This comprises of floating with managed and no, Mohit. Percentage you are not supposed to remember. It's very difficult to remember percentage, but simply you have to remember component. आप component याद रख लो किसका major share है. So you can always quote soft peg का maximum share है. ये bold figures जो हैं वो आप याद रख लो. 12.5 is hard peg. Soft peg is 46.4. And components क्या हैं उसके major components. Hard peg की components क्या हैं, soft peg की components क्या हैं, floating की components क्या हैं. Floating is which is managed and other is free floating. जिसमें complete floating है वो 16.1 है. इसमें floating है but कुछ manage करते हैं floating like country like India. So 18.2 है. Other managed is about 6.8. So floating is, so the highest is soft peg. Floating is 34.4 and hard peg is 12.5. So major आपको याद रखना है so that you can always quote. Okay. You are not supposed to remember all percentage. I know there is huge syllabus for 40 marks and it's very difficult to remember this. But you can remember broader one. और अगर आप उसके कुछ components, major components याद कर सकते हैं तो well and good. Okay. So next is dollarization. Okay, dollarization में क्या होता है? Dollarization is that is the basically you are establishing your currency with respect to dollar. The local currency, dollarization is the process by which a country decides to use two currencies, the local currency and generally a stronger home currency, that is dollar. So one of the strongest advantages of dollarization for smaller, less developed countries is the ability to trade in a currency that is stronger and more internationally recognized. So they go for trading in dollar because dollar strong currency hai. So dollarization kar diya, so you can go for trading in the international market in dollars. That helps the countries, small countries to become sustainable. Otherwise, वो अपनी currency में अगर trade करेंगे, तो it will be very expensive for them. So dollarization this way helps. So dollarization helps to reduce the risk. With the risk of loss of autonomy, obviously, अगर आप dollar के साथ peg कर देंगे, then in that case you lose autonomy, no? So that loss is there, but the benefit is that you get acceptance in the market because you are a small country, you are a less developed country. Who will recognize your currency? If you transact in dollars, obviously it is a better deal. Okay, so there's always a trade-off. हर चीज की कुछ cost होती है. So what that country has to evaluate which is more beneficial and till which stage we should go for dollarization. So one of the strongest advantage of dollarization for smaller, less developed countries is the ability to trade in a currency, आपको बता दिया, stronger, and they get more internationally recognized. And this gives them trade benefits also. Obviously, आप trade कर सकते हो आप international market में because अगर आप USD में trade करोगे small country, तो you will get more value, no? So you can transact in the world market, you get acceptance in the world market, and that makes you more sustainable also. Sustainable होगा, country भी grow होगी. But the risk is that your central bank, your monetary policy has no command. उसके पास कुछ power नहीं है. Because after all, you are relying on foreign currency, and this is not your country's currency. Since you have adopted that currency, so that is the risk. So that is the dollarization risk. Basically, a pegging here with respect to USD, isn't it? The dollarization is pegging your currency with respect to the, and this is fixed peg only, hard peg only, isn't it? Now, what is revaluation? Revaluation is that you can change the value of your currency. Floating exchange rate में आप कैसे change करोगे? Now coming to Neeraj's question, how in the floating rate you will change the valuation of your currency? Suppose आपकी currency depreciate हो रही है, $1 is equal to 82.42 है, and it was initially 1 USD equal to 80.43. Okay, आज ये 82.42 हो गया, depreciate हो गई. Now RBI wants that it should not further go down. Why it should not go further down? Because depreciation is bad beyond a point. See your exporter. अगर आप $100,000 का export कर रहे हैं, तो you will be gaining more अगर ये rate quote हो रहा है. If currency depreciate. So exporters, they gain in depreciation. Yes, they gain. But the point is that who are these exporters? These exporters are producing in India only. They are producing in India. So इनकी cost कहाँ incur हो रही है? India में हो रही है. Now, if rupee depreciates, then in that case, what will happen? We import oil. We are importing oil. So we are importing oil. If we are importing oil in dollars, then we will be paying more dollars. We need more dollars. Yes, agar rupee depreciate ho gaya, so we need more dollars. That means the dollar demand will increase, and dollar demand increases means in India inflation will increase. Inflation increases means exporters की cost बढ़ गई. If the cost goes up, that means they will not be able to sell in the market at the same price, competitive prices, and they will lose in the market. So in such case, RBI may intervene to make this currency more stable. उसके अलावा और भी drawbacks हैं. If your currency depreciates, and this will reflect on Sensex, no? What will happen on Sensex? एक company है जिसका transaction international market में है, and rupee starts depreciating. Now this company is listed on Sensex. What is going to happen? The profit margin of this company will decrease. Debt obligations of this company will increase. आपको dividends कम मिलेंगे, and overall profit of the company will decrease. This stock price will go down. Sensex will go down. At the same time, जो FPIs, foreign portfolio investors जो market में invest कर रहे हैं, it will be more expensive for them. So they will be investing in the country. They will not invest in the country. So what's going to happen? They will withdraw. They start withdrawing, and your market becomes highly volatile, and you lose in the market. So that is why RBI has to intervene. अगर rupee depreciate हो रहा है beyond a point, it will lead to high inflation. It will increase your trade deficit. It will impact the Sensex. It will impact companies, and it will impact economy's health. That is why RBI has to intervene. So RBI को depreciation में intervene करना पड़ेगा to bring the economy back on track. Yes? Is it clear? So that is revaluation. कैसे करेगा? Because ये तो floating exchange rate में हुआ. You cannot do it. RBI cannot do it. So what RBI will do? RBI will do through interest rates. Now, if interest rate increases, what's going to happen? Interest rate increases means inflation will be controlled. Inflation control at the same time, so the exporters' cost will reduce. At the same time, what is going to happen? Interest rate increases. FPIs will invest in the market. FPI interest increases, investment increases. आपकी currency strengthen हो जाएगी. So RBI will go for managing currency through interest rates. Yes. So it can bring back currency on track through interest rates. So countries which follow floating exchange rate, अगर उनकी currency depreciate होती है या बहुत ज़्यादा appreciate होती है, then in that case, currency revaluation can be done through interest rates by Reserve Bank of India. Because आप कहाँ हो? You are in a floating exchange rate. Yes. But China was a country which had pegged its currency to dollar. So China had fixed its currency since 1994 to dollar. And then 2005, they revalued their currency and they pegged it to basket of world currencies. So somebody was asking now, कि pegging आप change, आप base currency change कर सकते हो. So they have changed over the period of time. So what they have done, China ने initially अपनी peg करी currency dollar के साथ 1994 से 2004 तक. And 2005, they have pegged their currency to group of currencies in the world market to reevaluate their currency, revalue. Okay, so revaluation is clear. So revaluation also makes impact on MNCs की health पे भी तो impact करेगा, multinational companies, because they maintain their books. Now, if you go for revaluating your currency, that means all their proceeds plus their payment obligations and the valuation of assets, सब कुछ change हो जाएगा, isn't it? So the company's books also gets affected, book value की change हो जाएगी, market value की change हो जाएगी. So this is how revaluation impacts firms. Revaluation impacts market. Revaluation impacts economy and other stakeholders. So that is the impact. So revaluation has the potential to change the exchange rate between two countries and their respective currencies, but the book values of foreign held assets have to be adjusted and to reflect the impact of change in the exchange rate. So MNCs की books पे भी impact पड़ेगा, उनकी financial health पे भी impact पड़ेगा, and respectively banks की health पे भी impact पड़ेगा, because after all, you are transacting through banks only, no? So financial health also gets impacted. It's very important that currency stability should be there. Currency should not, floating exchange rate में यही सबसे बड़ा problem है. It should not depreciate a lot. It should not go lead to appreciation a lot. इसीलिए RBI को intervene करना पड़ता है ताकि currency balance रहे. If currency is balanced, people have trust in your currency, isn't it? Investors will have faith in your currency. Domestic players will have faith in your currency. FDIs will increase in the country. FPIs will increase in the country. It will generate employment. It will bring stability in inflation rate. So overall sustainability of the country depends on कि आपकी currency कितनी stable है. And currency stability depends on what? How your country's fundamentals are. Are you growing? Are you is the country having growth? Is the country leading to more employment? Is the country generating demand? Is the country going for exports? Is the country working on reducing its imports? Is the financial health of companies good? Is the financial health of banks is good? Financial market is good. Obviously, जब ये सब fundamentals ठीक होंगे, तो आपकी currency more stable होगी. If your currency is stable, then in that case, you need not, RBI need not intervene. आपको revaluation करने की जरूरत नहीं है. RBI need not intervene in that case, and the economy will grow in a stable manner. Understand? That is the significance of foreign exchange market or the currency market. अगर currency fluctuate होगी, तो interest rates के through या RBI को buy करना पड़ेगा, sell करना पड़ेगा through banks and others to maintain the currency if it goes too low, if it goes too high. Yes? So currency devaluation क्या होता है? Currency devaluation is just as China ने किया. You go for devaluating currency. You keep your currency value so low. Why do you keep your currency value low? You downgrade your currency. Why do you go for downgrade your currency? Because if $1 is equal to 84.42 and 1 USD, अगर market forces से ये 80.23 है और अगर आपने इसको devalue कर दिया 84.42, why will you do it? China जैसी country ने किया इसको. Why China did it? Because they see if this is the rate, then in that case what's going to happen? आपके imports बहुत expensive हो जाएंगे. Since your imports are very expensive, so it's not worth going for imports, no? But you gain through exports. So China, country like China, to promote exports and to discourage imports, they had devaluated their currency. Downward adjustment of a country's value of money relative to foreign currency. So they had devaluated their currency, keeping their currency value low so that imports become so expensive, so that people should not go for imports. China में exports को promotion के लिए एक आपने excise duty कम कर दी, infrastructure अच्छा दे दिया, plus you have gone for devaluation. So all fronts you want to promote exports and discourage imports. And what happened because of that? The currency further became strong and strong. Yes. So this is how. So countries, they devaluate their currencies to boost exports. China is a बहुत अच्छा example. Reduce their trade deficit and lower the cost of interest payments. Now, if your currency becomes strong, अगर आपकी currency strong हो गई और आपकी debt obligations है, obviously आपकी cost कम हो जाएगी. Cost goes down, interest payment cost goes down, government debt goes down because your currency has become strong. Because you have devaluated your currency. And this leads to global market becomes disruptive. इसीलिए China के ऊपर US ने many restrictions impose कर दिए when Trump was there. Because they had devaluated their currency and they had pegged their currency with dollar initially. So they ensured that the currency should not increase, the value should not increase, and it should be devaluated so that it can be an export-driven country. We had shared mercantilism. So China ने ऐसे mercantilism को promote किया through devaluation and all other basic infra. This was one of the parameters. Other, they worked on their excise duty, specialization, FDIs, and plus they worked on promoting manufacturing base. So this is how they made themselves export hub. और mercantilism की practice की उन्होंने, trade theory we had shared, and this is how they gain comparative advantage over all the marketplace. और इसीलिए Chinese products all over the world market में बिकते रहे, exports किया उन्होंने. Okay, so this is devaluation. So China devaluation. So China in the past has practiced devaluation to increase its GDP, and US, when Donald Trump was there, he imposed tariffs on Chinese goods because he believed that they were keeping their value low, and this was leading to trade deficit in US and say trade surplus in China. So to overcome that, he had gone for imposing tariffs on Chinese goods when Trump was there. And the Brazilian real, currency of Brazil is real. They had devaluated their currency in the past. And as a result, they faced many problems because the crude oil prices decreased and they suffered a lot, commodity prices. It led to corruption in the country. So devaluation is not a good practice. It should not be practiced as such because आप distort कर रहे हो market को. It is not through demand and supply, but you are manipulating exchange rate. Okay, so this is manipulation of exchange rate. Currency depreciation we have already shared. When 1 unit of the currency against the value of another currency decreases. So currency depreciation we have shared. What happens if you have a growth fundamentals, weak growth fundamentals, आपका current account deficit है, high inflation है, तो currency depreciate होगी ही होगी, isn't it? So currency depreciates when your fundamentals are not strong, when you have high inflation, when you import more than export, when investors do not have faith in your country, so dollar supply कैसे बढ़ेगा? USD demand will be higher, but supply will not increase, and this will depreciate the currency. Yes. So this is currency depreciation. What's happening here? You can see the demand is more. Demand is more, but supply is not increasing. So because of that, the exchange rate goes up. This is nominal exchange rate. Nominal exchange rate goes up means currency depreciates. This happens in a floating exchange rate. Yes. Demand कब बढ़ेगी? जब inflation rate बढ़ जाएगा, imports expensive हो जाएंगे. Imports की demand inelastic है, inelastic है. Plus portfolio investors they withdraw from the market. FDIs India में आएंगे नहीं. So overall market will be outflow of dollars. Dollar country से बाहर चला जाएगा. And if outflow of dollar and supply नहीं है, dollar का supply कम है, this will lead to depreciation of the currency. This happens at the floating exchange rate. Appreciation कब होगा? जब supply dollar का country में बढ़ जाएगा. Supply कब बढ़ेगा? So government of India working on Make in India, government of working on Digital India, government of India working on ease of doing business, logistic parks, reducing corruption. All these factors are going to help what? Investors' trust will increase. USD inflow will increase. IBC, insolvency and bankruptcy code, all these factors, financial health of the companies, financial health of the country. So USD will increase. At the same time, our exports are increasing. So USD inflow will increase and USD outflow will decrease because हम self-reliant बन रहे हैं. We had shared voluntary export restraints. Government said 101 items will not go for importing. Complete ban on import of डिफेंस इक्विपमेंट्स 101 डिफेंस इक्विपमेंट्स हम इंडिया में बनाएंगे. अब आप इंटरनेशनल मार्केट से नहीं ले रहे हो, दैट मींस यू आर डिमांडिंग लेस डॉलर, प्लस यू आर प्रमोटिंग थ्रू G20 एंड अदर एक्सपोर्ट्स, सो यू आर प्रमोटिंग एक्सपोर्ट्स, सो USD गोज अप, USD सप्लाई बढ़ता जाएगा, डिमांड विल डिक्रीज एंड दिस विल हेल्प करेंसी टू बिकम मोर स्ट्रॉन्गर. सो दिस इज नॉमिनल एक्सचेंज रेट. यस. Karan, if export increases, आपकी currency strengthen होगी ना. अगर आपने simultaneously imports पे काम किया और inflation को maintain किया. If you do not maintain inflation in your country and you are going for exports, so how long you will be able to sustain? Because वो inflation exports price में भी तो reflect करेगा, isn't it? So you are an exporter, if you are producing goods in India and आपकी country में inflation बढ़ता जा रहा है, so आपकी cost of production बढ़ गई. If your cost of production goes up, then in that case, will you be able to compete in the international market? You will not be able to compete. Yes? और imports तो आपके expensive हो ही जाएंगे because आपकी currency depreciate हो रही है. So if you work on your country's fundamentals and then you go for increasing exports, that strengthens your currency. Okay. So currency depreciation we have shared. So what are the basic objectives of exchange rate policy of any country, of Reserve Bank of India, what it has to take care about? Basically, to manage exchange rate, there are three different ways country can adopt. One is the floating exchange rate. One can be pegged. We have shared. You can have hard peg. You can have soft peg. You can have merge currency. दो तीन currencies को merge करके आपने अपनी currency को basket of currencies के through आपने manage कर रहे हो. So these are different exchange rate policies country can practice. Okay. How monetary policy takes care about exchange rate? Monetary policy can take care of exchange rate through inflation. Because अगर inflation बढ़ गया, currency will depreciate. And it will be very difficult to manage. So monetary policy has to take care about inflation. If inflation is managed, obviously unemployment will be less in the country. Agar inflation consistently high होगा, आप देखिए European countries, what's happening in European countries? Inflation is going up. तभी तो layoffs हो रहे हैं इतने सारे, isn't it? Companies are losing profits. Companies are not getting business, and since they are not getting business, so they are telling people to leave the job. Since unemployment is increasing, purchasing power of people is decreasing. Purchasing power decreases means further economy will be on the downturn. So that's the impact. That's what is happening, isn't it? So inflation in this share किया, inflation can be because of the demand pull, it can be because of the cost push. ये जो inflation है, demand pull inflation, which happens on the cost push inflation, short term में definitely RBI only can take care, or the central bank only can take care. So if inflation is managed, if money supply in the economy is managed, if uh, if if macro fundamentals of the country are stable, country में political stability है, economic stability है, financial health आपकी अच्छी है, companies की financial health balanced है, banks are in good health, then in that case, people will develop trust. If international players they develop trust, it will reflect on Sensex, FPI increase होगा, FDI increase होगा, and jobs increase होंगे, overall exports promote होंगे, and country will be more sustainable. So that's the impact of balance growth in the country. Okay. So what is the impact of exchange rate fluctuations in the domestic economy? We have shared. If your country's currency depreciates, then your export, you gain through exports. Yes, currency depreciates, you gain through exports. Imports will be discouraged if the currency, if your rupee or the currency depreciates. Okay. Imports become expensive, exports become more competitive. It will lead to, so imports are reducing. So if you start making goods in your home country, the goods demand will increase, and the country, if country has production capacity, obviously production in the country will increase and country will be more sustainable. This case may it is beneficial. Exports are beneficial if a country can develop enough capacity to meet the demand in the country. Agar demand nahi meet kar paye, to prices shoot up only. Yes. So to offset the high cost of imported goods, domestically produced goods होने चाहिए. If you cannot produce domestically produced goods, then it will lead to high rate of inflation. Okay. So what happens over the period of time? It will help the country to grow. Otherwise, if you cannot manage here, prices increase only. And this will be making adverse impact of it. Okay. So if you work on a production capacity, when the country's currencies exports are promoting due to depreciation, you gain. But at the same time, you have to work on import substitution. At the same time, जो imports आप नहीं कर पा रहे हो because of rupees becoming weaker, then in that case, you should develop capacity in your country. अगर आप नहीं develop कर रहे हो, then it's a challenging thing for the country. Okay. So currency exchange rate can impact trade. It can impact economic growth. It can impact capital flows. Country may FDIs, FPIs, FIIs, inflation, interest rates. It can make impact on that. Okay. So example of large currency moves from the financial markets. जैसे subprime crisis में आपने देखा, 2008 crisis में देखा, what happened? People lost trust in US economy and they started withdrawing money from that country. और कहाँ पे invest करने लगे? Developing countries में. And we became stronger. Isn't it? So if your country's fundamentals are not strong, then you cannot have stable currency, and this will lead to fluctuations in the currency. So monetary policy can directly or indirectly play its role. अभी आपको बताया, if interest rates, RBI can take care through interest rates. If RBI increases the interest rates, then in that case, people will go for investing and it will help. And at the same time, other people will go for buying less and inflation is controlled. Then in that case, your export becomes more competitive and you become more sustainable. Trade also gets impacted. Exports and imports can also make impact. अगर आपके imports expensive है, तो आपका balance of payment adversely impact होगा. There will be trade deficit. अभी आपने देखा because of devaluation, China could become, उन्होंने अपनी currency को weak करके they became export surplus country, not even for 1 year, 2 years, for 3 decades. राज, मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी, हमने पूरा मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी चैप्टर पढ़ा है बेटा. मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी इज रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया थ्रू इंटरेस्ट रेट्स को, एक्सचेंज रेट को मैनिपुलेट करता है. अभी आपको बताया, अगर इंटरेस्ट रेट्स बढ़ गया, if interest rates goes up, what's going to happen? If interest rate goes up, what's going to happen? FIIs and FPIs, if they find that they can get higher returns in India, they will invest in India. So one front USD will increase. Okay. Number two, what will happen in the domestic market? If interest rate goes up, inflation will be controlled. If inflation is controlled, that means the cost of production will reduce. Yes, cost of production reduces means your goods become export competitive. Your export proceeds will increase. Export proceed increases means USD dollar for further will come to the country. And this will help country to become more sustainable. तो मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी के थ्रू दे कैन कंट्रोल. अगर आपको करेंसी को डीवैल्यू करना है, डेप्रिशिएट करना है, तो आप इंटरेस्ट रेट्स को कम कर दीजिए. Okay, so foreign capital tends to flow into country that have, मैंने आपको बता दिया, कब आपकी कंट्री में USD आएगा? When will you have more USD in your country? जब foreign players को trust होगा, when they believe in your economy. So what is required? Requires strong government. You require good economic fundamentals. You require stable currency. You require foreign investors to invest in the country. Then only you will gain more capital flows. You should have good policy, FDI policies. You should have strong financial and the Sensex market and the capital market. You should have good disclosure norms that will help FIIs and FPI to invest in the country. So this is how you should have good political relations with other countries. This will help to have more capital inflow in the country. अब आप देखिए, G20 will bring more capital in the country. Yes. So capital inflows will increase. And that's good for the country. Inflation is bad. Inflation is bad. It depreciates currency. If you are importing and if your currency depreciates, then in that case, a sudden 20% decline in the domestic currency, if currency depreciates by 20%, then in that case, आपकी imports जो है 25% expensive हो जाएंगे. So if inflation is 5%, import cost goes up by 7 to 8%. So imports are more expensive. And if it becomes more expensive, you understand, कुछ industries ऐसी होती हैं जहाँ पे आपके लिए imports important है. You need to import. And if you have to import for the raw material or the basic components to make the final product, then what will happen to the final product? The final product cost will go up. And it will transfer to the economy. The price level in the economy will increase. Yes. Interest rates, मैंने आपसे share कर लिया. Interest rates plays very important role, especially in the flexible exchange rate regime. Okay. So monetary policies plays important role. It is about Canada. So Canada governor Mark Carney, he said that Canadian dollar strength was one reason why his country's monetary policy had taken measures to keep the currency stable. So it was important to keep the currency stable, and that created strength of the Canadian dollar. Strong domestic currency helps the economy to pull it up and makes the country sustainable. If it will not work on it, then in that case, it can lead to foreign investors fly out of the country, and vice versa can be true. So interest rate can be one way in a floating exchange regime where they can maintain currency strength. This Asian crisis which happened, they had gone for devaluating their currency. So And because of this, Thai baht was devaluated. And because of that, and then when they lost in the market, they had gone for floating exchange rate. And once they entered into floating exchange rate, Indonesia, Malaysia, South Korea, all these countries, they suffered in huge. And that led to Asian crisis. So devaluation की वजह से ये impact हुआ other countries पर. China's devalued and this created unequal growth in the world market. And they were bound to go for appreciating their currency later because US ने उन पे restrictions किए when Trump came in power. So capital flows we have already shared. To get capital flow, you have to have a strong currency. If you keep your currency stable and strong, definitely capital, and you have good macro fundamentals, capital flows will increase in the country. It helps economic growth, also stable the currency, more economic growth, and it leads to aggregate demand, it leads to employment. Because you see, trade gets international trade, if it increases, then aggregate demand will increase and the economy becomes more sustainable. Okay. So what is the conclusion we can draw here? That various factors influence exchange rate. It depends on international factors also, it depends on domestic factors also. And these factors in different countries are interlinked. One country has some change, is going to make some change and its impact will be there. Okay. So adjustments can be long-term, adjustment can be short-term. It has different impact on different countries. It is very difficult to predict if future में exchange rate क्या होगा. Risk is very high. So exchange rate changes are one of the demand management tools for the fixed exchange rate. Fixed exchange rate में आपको currency को manage करना है. So central bank has zero power. Policies such as devaluation, revaluation are sometimes helps to maintain foreign exchange, and it can shift the demand from the domestic goods and the import of the goods. Okay, so countries have to be very, very carefully design their exchange rate policies so that it helps to lead to growth and sustainability. That's it. I hope it is clear to you, all of you, this chapter. Once you'll read, things will become more easy. Okay, then good night. Take care, all of you. Any queries you have? Queries? Okay, then.